What's up, Game Illuminaughty? It's Ziggy here with the Triple Threat Podcast. Today, we got our co-host, JGTheDon. Say what's up.
Yo, what's going on, people?
And we have a special guest. He's been out for a while, but now he's back. Flock, say what up to the people.
I ain't special. I'm just here.
Ace had to take time off this week. We hope everything's good, and he'll be back next podcast. So, let's just jump right into this. We're going to start off with the NCAA. Loyola. Flock, tell us about your boys. They're still dancing. They are in the Final Four, an 11 seed. How did everybody in the country miss this team? What are we missing?
I had them going to the Sweet 16, but I did not have them getting into the Final Four. I thought the Sweet 16 was as far as they were going to go. It's every year it's a team that does that. You know, it's that one team that nobody really pays attention to. And they can, you know, they win a couple games and it's like, all right, now it's over with for them. And then people just don't figure them out. And then the tournament is no different. Like styles make, like in boxing, style makes fights, you know, and matchups, you know, can make a good tournament team. So they just having a matchup advantage against everyone they've been playing against so far.
It's definitely been a surprising, you know, just a whole March Madness period. We got a 16 seed being a 1, Loyola, and then what took away from what, you know, Loyola winning the Elite 8 game was that they were actually playing a 9 seed also. You know, Kansas State, that's another, you know, Cinderella team that nobody expected, and they were there also. JG, what do you think about Loyola?
I mean, I didn't know anything about them either, and like I said, I was pretty much checked out of the whole NCAA tournament once Mizzou lost. I knew they were gonna lose to Florida State because they whack as hell, but like I said, man, once they got out, I was like, whatever. But Loyola just came out of nowhere. And it was surprising everybody. Bracket busted pretty much the entire nation, and I'm surprised, man. Final Four, that's pretty amazing. So I'm gonna be rooting for them just because they're the super duper underdogs. Just as far as like nobody just expect them to be there at all. But we'll see, man. I'm gonna be watching the Final Four at least. But I've like been paying attention like here and there, and I'm like, damn, like Loyola actually doing work. So even though like all their games have been pretty close, like not even within like 4 points every single game. So that's, man, besides the last game, but it's crazy, man. I never thought to see it.
That's the segue about the Final Four. So Loyola, Michigan, Kansas, and Villanova. I think a lot of people expected Kansas, Villanova. Obviously, those are #1 seeds. I picked Michigan, and they're there. I don't think anybody really picked Loyola, but they're there. Loyola. Let's go ahead and just start with that first game. Loyola versus Michigan. Can they pull it off and get to the finals? Loyola.
Anything can happen. Of course they can. They've gotten this far, so they definitely got the, you know, you can't sit here and say the lights are too bright for them and stuff. They've been winning all these games so far. This is the absolute best thing in sports to me, is the NCAA tournament, yo. One and done. Any team can just get hot and make it there. The favorites can actually lose, as we seen with they lost to the 16 seed, first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could happen, man. I mean, I'm not saying that it will happen, but it could definitely happen. Like who picked Michigan to go to the Final Four? Not many, unless you're like a diehard Michigan fan. I didn't pick them going to the Final Four. I actually had them going to the Elite 8. But my bracket was busted after, who cares?
Michigan is the only reason why my bracket is still good, because I actually picked them to win the whole thing.
And Villanova is the reason why my bracket is still salvageable. So yeah, I think they can, but will they? You know what, man? That's my hometown team. I'm gonna say, yeah, they're gonna pull it off.
They definitely have luck on their side, and they got that nun that everybody's talking about.
What's her name? I forgot her name.
Yeah. What do you think, JG?
I mean, I feel like Loyola has the better matchup in this situation. I would think if they were going against Villanova or Kansas, it would have been a done deal. I wouldn't expect them to even make it. But I feel like Michigan probably is going to pull it off. And the funny thing, I'm looking at their brackets as well and looking at Michigan's run. Like they had it, I would say that they had it pretty easy. Like even against Houston, that 1 point game, like they had it pretty much easy going through this as well. So I think that's why they ended up at being in the Final Four. Because I mean, you had Florida State, and that was a 4 point game. So
None of the games were easy for Michigan, though, as far as when they were playing. They were actually down a lot. In fact, I think that Houston game was the last second.
That was the last second one. But that was like their first test. But besides that, like just as far as like just a matchup on paper, not actually in the game. Like I feel like they had an easier time than these other teams. Like I said, Loyola, besides against Kansas State, like every game was less than 4 points. So like I said, it's a miracle for them to be there. But I'm going to go with them. I want to go with Loyola just because I think they're going to be Michigan and end up in the championship. That'll be a sight to see.
I picked Michigan. Like I said, during their games, they've been struggling though. Maybe they pull it all together against a team that on paper they should be able to beat up. But then again, Loyola, outside of paper, has just been pulling it off and winning, and their confidence obviously is at the highest it is. And also history shows Loyola's never lost when they are in the Final Four, so maybe they'll keep that streak alive. They've only been there once, but still.
Right.
All right, Kansas, Villanova. I feel like both these teams are like the same. I thought both of them would lose in the Elite Eight, actually, but then again, I had different teams playing them. I think this is a game that Kansas chokes. What do you think, JG?
I mean, I will never, ever, ever in my entire life root for Kansas. So we're gonna go with Villanova, and that's that. I hate Kansas so much. They should have lost to Duke. So, but this happens. They have an elite basketball program, but I don't like Kansas. I don't like Bill Self. I don't like anything about Kansas. The entire state, I hate. So Villanova versus Loyola. That's what I got in the championship.
What about you, Flock?
I'm saying I'm going with Villanova. I can't root against them. They showed they can win it. They got a good program. I've always liked Villanova. I've always kept my eye on them. Hell, even back when Kerry Kittles played for them. So, I've always kept my eye on them. They're a good team, man. I mean, I consider them the favorites.
So I guess that answers the next question then. Who's winning it all? Nova? No matter.
I'm going with Villanova.
Yeah,
I'm going with Villanova regardless.
I'm gonna go with Nova as well, even if Michigan wins.
Yeah, I think the same also. Even though I picked Michigan to win, I had Michigan beating Michigan State, so that's the reason why I had Michigan winning.
I've always liked Michigan. I've liked Michigan since the Fab Five. That was
the timeout game.
Yeah. I mean, not the game, but the actual team itself. The actual team itself. I've always been a fan of Michigan. So yeah, but they the ones that put me up on the black Nike socks back in my younger years. So, but yeah, so but I still like Villanova coming out of this one. I just think they're more poised at this point because they definitely choked last year. But then they lose in the second round or something, or the Sweet 16 game or some shit. But
I think so. Yeah.
They didn't get as far as they should have gotten because everybody picked them to at least go back to the championship game after winning it the year prior. But they didn't. So I think they basically out for redemption this year. And they looking like they gonna get it good because they've been consistent throughout the tournament.
We should have known that this tournament was just not going to be easy to predict because it seemed like every team that was number one lost the very next week after they got that ranking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody was number one, it seemed. Kansas, Villanova, Duke, Michigan, all of them were number one at some point, it seemed, and they all lost it right away. But I think Villanova, I think they're the ones that are going to win the whole thing. It's still funny that Virginia was ranked number one overall and they lost to that 16 seed. I know they lost their best player, but still, they're the
you still don't lose to a team that just barely got in there.
Yep. And let's go ahead and get this out the way since you're on Flock. So you don't think that's the biggest choke job of all sports? You still think the Yankees losing the three?
Yeah, your Yankees has the biggest choke job in sports history. Yes, they were down 3 games. You know why? Because that's one game. That's one game. But and like I said in the tournament, okay, and I understand that. But
that's the first time that ever happened in history of that sport.
Now, I know trust me, it's the first time it's ever happened in the history of baseball too.
Yeah, I know that. I was gonna say that, but the thing is, though, that I think that a 7-game series.
Siggy, why are we debating this? You know why we debating this? Because you're a Yankee.
And you're a Red Sox fan. I know that's the reason why you picked that. That's the reason why you have
that. I'm picking it because it's fact.
But it's nah. This is the worst choke job ever. A #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament losing to a 16. That has to be because the Yankees and Red Sox have had a rivalry for 100 and something years now.
Yeah, that the Yankees basically
Always
dominated
win.
up until that point.
But that's not the biggest choke job though.
They were outs away from winning the actual series. Like had that not happened, I would have picked the Cubs choking that 3-1 lead to the Marlins as the biggest choke job, blaming it on Bartman. But they weren't down 3. They weren't up 3 games or nothing.
Nah, I still say a #1 overall losing a 16 is way worse.
Yeah, it looks bad. It's really bad. Trust me, it is really bad. And we talked about this before. I said, had that not happened with the Yankees against the Red Sox,
that
definitely would have been #1.
Yeah, if you were a Yankee fan, you wouldn't be saying that though, right?
No, I would. I would.
I don't know. I just think that Yankees and Red
down
Sox
3-0.
That was going to happen. I think it was
a lot worse than losing 1 game.
But the thing is, though, that was I don't know.
I mean, Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, bro. I don't think that's the biggest choke job, though. No, I'm saying, but it happens. Even the best can stumble at some point. It was bound to happen at one point. It was definitely bound to happen at some point. It just happened to happen this year.
Yeah, I know. That's I think the more stunning part was that it happened at #1 overall.
So let me ask you this: had that not happened this year with Virginia, would you say the Yankees choking was the biggest choke job?
It's the first thing that pops in my head. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I said that this was the biggest choke job now because it is. I still think it is.
He's trying to deflect it off the Yankees, Jay.
No, because I said that. Are you considering it's the biggest choke job? You still have the Yankees. I don't know if that is true anymore.
It's bad. It's right there though. It's definitely right there. Cause no way, like we said before, it's no way, no how that team, regardless of our star player isn't playing, you shouldn't lose 1 game to them.
It would have been different if it was Kansas as like the 3rd ranked #1, because that means they're really #3 or 4. You know what I mean? This was the #1,
the #1 undisputed team in the nation. Yeah,
exactly. All right, let's go. Another upset, speaking of choke jobs, UConn lost again in the women's side to Notre Dame. This is 2 years in a row that their perfect season has been sidetracked in the tournament. Has UConn lost its luster?
No.
It is stunning though.
They're still the benchmark for women's college basketball. They're just the team's not afraid of them anymore. They've been shown they can be beaten. That's all. Now we can stop saying that. Oh, they're ruining women's baseball. Ruining women's college basketball. We can stop saying that now because they're getting beat now.
You know what's funny?
They get beat when it counts.
It's always the same 4 teams though. You know, UConn is always going to be #1, and if they do lose, you can pick 2 or 3 teams that they'll lose to: Notre Dame, Stanford, or what's that one? I can't think of the other one right now, but it's Purdue or something. I forgot what it was, but it always is Notre Dame and Stanford. Those are the other 2 that are like the class of the women's, college basketball. But it's just those are those same 4 teams every year, it seems. And then
they pretty much hold a monopoly on women's college basketball.
Yeah, they might as well just have it. They just might as well just announce the Final Four instead of a tournament.
I would like to see a smaller school have a run in women's college basketball, kind of like how like Loyola is doing now, and teams have done in the past in the men's side of it. It doesn't happen so much, mainly because the women's side of it is just like it's not as big a field as far as like elite talent.
Yeah, exactly.
The talent
and
pool,
all the top
players are going to go to those schools, right?
Exactly. Yep. Tennessee was the other team I was thinking about.
Tennessee, absolutely.
Yeah, Tennessee back in the day. Not so much anymore.
Not so much now, yeah. Since Pat Summitt's gone.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and transition over to the NFL. A lot of news in the NFL. Let's talk about the new rules that have kind of been controversial. Obviously, the catch rule is one, and now a new tackle rule. Which one? Let's talk about the tackle. Let's tackle the tackle rule first. So now it's going to be illegal to pretty much tackle if you make a move that makes your head go down, like a spear action. I don't even know how they described it. It's
like they were saying like if you lower your head and you initiate contact with your helmet first.
Like I don't even know what that means. Every tackle you kind of lead with your head.
At some point you're gonna go helmet to helmet at some point, because if he's going one way, you're trying to go another way. He's trying to get away. You're trying to get a hold of him. it's gonna create some, even if it's incidental, it's gonna be some sort of contact, man. This is just at this point we might as well be playing flag football out here, yo.
Right? It almost seems like the only way you could tackle now is if you go hug them and then bring them down. Because I don't see a way that you can actually tackle without.
You have to use your shoulder, but again, with that, you can't launch yourself. Like I feel like this is going to be super problematic this season.
Yeah, because everybody's gonna have flags this year.
So a running back basically can't truck anybody. Because pretty much every running back, especially if you're a workhorse, you're going to lower your head.
Well, somewhere Earl Campbell is shaking his head.
And the thing is, though, it's not even necessarily that they're trying to make contact. A lot of people are lowering their heads just to get down to the ground and just so happen to hit somebody.
That's why I said it's going to be a lot of incidental contact. These people are coming at each other at full speed. 200 to 300 pound men going at each other full speed, yo. Nobody can sit and gauge how many inches they got before they get to another person's body part below their knees or stuff like that. It's come on, man. It's football, yo. It's the NFL.
Yeah,
it's no fun league, yo. It really is.
It's gonna be confusing. There's gonna be so many game-changing plays. Just when you think, let's say you got the stop, you need this 4th and 1, and you got the stop, and they're gonna throw 5 flags because one of your linemen dove for the football or hit him with his helmet. It's just gonna be weird. I don't know how they're gonna implement this. I don't know how much controversy.
It's like you're gonna be spending more time trying not to hit the person than you are trying to actually hit the person.
Right.
Which is the name of the game on defense. It's like they're like really protecting the offensive players, and it's gonna make defenses just like obsolete at this point. Shit's about to turn into arena league football, y'all.
I hope they just test it out in the preseason and they realize that it's just so bad that they just say, okay, look, we'll think about it for next year.
Yeah, or, can we see like a public display on how they want you to tackle?
Right.
Like that would be nice. Like instead of keeping that in private.
Video.
Have like
how to tackle.
Yeah, how to tackle. Like, bro, this because I feel like this is going to be stupid. I understand CTE is a huge issue. You don't want people to get CTE. You don't want people to get concussions every damn game. You don't want people to get unnecessary injuries. I understand that, but we still don't understand as a public, and even the players actually in the NFL, the owners. It's a lot of people that like even former players. I've seen former players speak out, and they're like, I don't understand. It's like you're literally like changing the way that football is going to be going forward with this. So it's just a lot of questions that need answers, and I just don't feel like, again, Siggy, that's probably a good idea. Just have them test it out in the preseason, have them test it out during OTAs, and see how y'all really want people to do this, because I just don't feel like it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's going to work either. Well, they did get something right, the catch rule. So now, at least now it seems more simple. Now a football move period is going to be counted as a catch. So that means all the ones that we've seen that have been controversial, the Des Bryant, the obviously Calvin Johnson. Yep. What's his name? Jesse James. All those were considered football moves. And so it looks like it's no longer that all the way to the ground control thing and stuff like that. I'm not sure though how they're gonna handle if it's a fumble. Like, all these guys caught it and then the ball kind of rolled in the end zone or whatever. What happens though if you do a football move and then you land it but you drop the ball? Is that fumble, or how does now? I think it kind of opens up that kind of question. But
we don't know because it changes every year, yo. Every other year they change it.
So there is a conflict on that part, because is it going to be counted as a catch, and then that means there's no more fumble? Because then if the definition of fumble can also mean if you do a football move and the ball comes out before it hits the ground, which one overrides it? Which one supersedes that?
Maybe they'll consider it not a fumble if it's dealing with the end zone rather than just anywhere else on the field. Maybe they'll count that, but maybe if it does happen anywhere else on the field, maybe it would be considered a fumble. Or they might consider it being a fumble if after you make a football move, someone makes contact with you and then you drop the ball instead of just the ground making you fumble, essentially.
Because I guess the biggest difference with all of them is they all did hold on to the ball, or they had it in the end in their possession, except for actually they all did. And now that I think about it, the ones that were the controversial ones, but
yeah, Jesse James took one step and turned around and then reached out, lost the ball.
But he wound up getting it right back, right? Or did that ball just get knocked out, period?
Nah, he lost the ball because he literally just turned around. He caught it, took one step, turned around, and then reached out, and the ball came out. But it was in the end zone. It was a plane. It crossed a plane. Yep.
Okay. So I guess that'd be it right there. The plane was still briefed back into effect.
I think that's the main thing that they want to again try to. I think that's why they changed the rule in the first place, because I think it was too many end zone situations where if it was considered a catch, it would have changed the game. It would literally change the whole tide of the game. So I think that's the main thing that they were just trying to do. Not necessarily anywhere else on the field, but they just mainly want to change like possible scoring plays. What just happened?
I still hate the Austin Seferian-Jenkins one because they never saw, if the ball did go out or not. He landed on it in the end zone. I don't know how they could say that there was a touchback at that point. So I hope that it clears that one up the most. Yeah. What do you think, Flock? You think everything should be smooth sailing now, or do you think there's still going to be questions?
There always will be questions, bro. Always. It's never smooth.
I agree. We'll see. I guess the only other rule that I could think of that they were talking about was getting rid of kicking kickoffs. Period. That was something.
I don't understand why they so adamant about this, man. Like the people that's one of the most exciting plays in baseball. I mean baseball. Why am I still stuck on baseball and football? We've been talking about this damn Yankees and Red Sox stuff.
Oh boy, gotta be.
And plus, I'm ready to play this MLB The Show, so maybe I'm thinking about baseball, man. But in football, in football, is one of like the most exciting plays. Like running a kickback, like that is like really extremely difficult. All the pieces have to be in place, and then it's like eliminating people to be out there on the field that usually don't be out there for that one play.
I don't know if I have the percentage right, but they're saying that I think
most people get hurt.
Yes,
most people do get hurt on special teams. I will agree to that, but hey, it's gonna happen. I mean, you can get injured getting out the bed. So I mean,
I couldn't imagine though the game not having a kickoff. So everybody just starts at the 20, pretty much. Is that how it'll be?
Like what? That's kind of weak, yo.
Yeah,
I mean they already moved up where the kickoff spot was. And then that prevented a lot of people from even returning it because you damn near in the end zone pretty much every single time you got a good kicker. And now we get to this. So I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that one either.
Leave it alone.
I think they should leave it alone. I think they should bring it back to where it's regular kickoffs from further back.
Yeah, I liked it from further back too.
Yep.
I actually did. The stuff was exciting, man. When you get a kickoff return, like you telling me you're gonna just not see that at all,
right? It's not like people got a chance to return them now anyway because there's so many touchbacks.
Just think about all the plays that happened with the kickoffs. We wouldn't have the miracle at Tennessee, whatever, without that. You know what I mean? It would be without a kickoff that would happen.
Yeah, there will not be a chance for you to say if
onside kick.
Yeah, onside kick. Say if you're down and you're trying to get good yardage before you make that game-winning drive. That's not going to happen if you start them at the 20 or the 25. I don't think that they're thinking all this stuff through.
Yeah, you're eliminating the whole strategic part of the game.
Yep, and we've seen. I think the Cowboys. I think they actually came back and won a game by doing that, getting the touchdown and needing the onside kick, and then getting the field goal to win. And I think it was a Bill Parcells game. Sorry, that never would have happened if they had no kickoff. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, what you going to say? Like in those situations, you're just going to start them off at the 50? Like that's not fair.
Yeah, yeah. Because what happens if you want to do an onside kick? Yeah, that. More questions. Maybe that's what they haven't done it yet. They're just still probably brainstorming it.
Yeah, they need to stop that because it's not. Nah.
All right, your Rams are still making moves, JG. Now that it's starting to look like they've actually caught up with the Eagles, in my opinion. They signed Sue. I know a lot of people are mixed about this. They think he's the dirtiest player in the NFL. It's just going to hurt the Rams' image, yada, yada. But no one can deny that he's a good player. So is your line even better now?
I would have to say yes. These are 2 first-round picks. And it's funny because, I think the Dolphins at that point, I think it was we passed on to, ended up getting Donald, and I think it was the other way around as well.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy that we get both of them on the same team. Boy, I just can't wait for the season. The other thing I wanted to say about this one, I know that the Jets were also in contention.
Yep.
But they didn't end up getting them because I forgot exactly what they said. You remember what they said? Like why they didn't?
Sue was bidding up because Sue already made a list that said Rams, Saints, and something else. And then the Jets came out of nowhere because they offered him the most money. But even after they offered him that, it was like 2 days and nothing happened. So everybody assumed that he was just using the Jets' money to try to bid up everybody else, use it as a negotiating thing to get more money from those teams that he really wanted. So the Jets just pulled away and said, nah, forget it.
Because we ended up giving him 14 for a year.
Yep.
And again, we also have the situation where we still have not given Aaron Donald a contract. And this is the same thing with Le'Veon Bell for the Steelers. I don't understand why. Like, this is one of your best players on the team. And I don't understand, like, what's the hold up. And same thing with Kirk Cousins, too. Like, what's the hold up with trying to get a contract situated? Aaron Donald literally did not even practice the entire. I don't think he even played the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, because of the contract. So he was holding out. And then they said that they talked to Aaron Donald before they even made this decision to sign Sue. It was like, are you okay with this? And he was like, yeah, but I know probably in the back of his mind, he like, yo, what the hell? Like, why y'all giving him 14 and y'all still haven't even situated my contract yet? So that's what I was more worried about. Because I'm like, we're not getting Sue. Like, you give him 14, we're not going to get him. We're not going to get him. But after that Jets thing fell through and he ended up signing with us, I was like, man, oh man. Like, I don't know what the Rams are doing, but this offseason has been major, like super major. I just hope that again, Sue like doesn't do anything crazy, because that's the only thing that you got to worry about with this guy. But like, that's a line that nobody can touch, man. It's gonna be sacks all day, bro. It's gonna be sack city. I was very upset when we lost Robert Quinn. Cause I actually like Quinn. I like Quinn a lot. I actually like Ogletree too, but again, like, if freeing up all that cap space and getting Sue, I feel like we're gonna be better. I feel like we're definitely gonna be better.
What do you think about these moves, Flock?
I agree that Sue is probably the dirtiest player in the league. I mean, it's one thing to be, he likes to be this, I'm a misunderstood person, but replay don't lie. He's done a lot of dirty things. So, it's like, it's one thing to be a good player, but that stuff right there just kind of like sours the deal of him. So I can understand why a lot of teams don't want to mess with him. I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, just what it is. I mean, if that's where he's going, that's where he's going. Hopefully, he doesn't do anything to mess their chemistry up and bring a lot of the wrong type of attention to that team. Because Roger Goodell is gonna be watching. Believe that. And we're gonna forget that ain't the only move the Rams made. Now is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's go about that. Let's talk about the big moves that the Rams did by hiring 2 male cheerleaders. JG, let us know what you think about that.
Man, I don't know how this happened. T-Base on his news, he was trying to give the L to LA and St. Louis. I was like, nah, bro, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. Nah, if you gonna give an L to anybody, it's gotta be LA. But I mean, diversity, yeah, sure. I don't really care about it.
I mean, we were talking about the whole image thing. I'm quite sure they are not worried about image at this point. Good for them, though. I mean, that's what they want to do.
It is funny, though, because that is the very first time it's happened. I'm kind of shocked because I know there's been male cheerleaders in a whole bunch of sports and stuff like that in colleges and
there's been in colleges all the time. Yeah, because you have them, you have the males, throwing up the cheerleaders,
the female,
throwing up the females. So like,
but I think everybody knows, and obviously there's a famous movie, with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. If everybody knows what I'm talking about, everybody knows that the female cheerleaders in the NFL was more of like an eye candy sideshow thing. Do you think now it's more in the future going to go towards like cheerleaders are just taking it serious now? Do you think that that's what it is as far as image?
I don't see nobody chucking them up in the air 20 feet.
Nah, they're gonna be the bottom of the pyramid, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see nobody chucking. No, I'm saying I don't see nobody chucking those females up in the air or nothing. I don't see that happening. I don't know how that's gonna work. Nor do I really care.
Yeah, all right, we're talking enough about cheerleaders. I care about the cheerleaders. All right, let's move on to OBJ trade rumors, which he's been linked to the Rams also.
Once again, Rick. Yeah, like, I don't know how this stuff is happening. I've never seen something like this in my life happen, like in the offseason with this team. So even though the Giants are saying one thing,
their actions are actually. It seems like the Giants are kind of playing, okay, no, we love you, OBJ. Don't worry about it. But then at the same time, they've been listening, and they've apparently already told teams like what they want, and it's up to the other teams to either make a deal and then they'll sign off on it, or something crazy happens to OBJ. I don't know. But
yeah, so what I've heard was they want 2 first-round picks.
they're pretty much going with like what the Jets offer for that 3 spot.
I mean, that's wild, but I know that the Giants, regardless of what they say, I know that they're tired of every time they look around, somebody is talking about Odell Beckham. It's something that he's doing off of the field, something that
like
he's
that
doing
French
on
model.
the field. Yeah, and that's the latest thing coming. Like now, it's a whole drug thing that's coming on. Like I know that they're sick of that. You just want everybody to focus on the team itself and not one person. Like regardless of what you say, but the Giants again are trying to hold on to him because you know that he's a great freaking wide receiver. When he's not injured, he's top 3 easily. But I don't know, man. I don't know if they're actually going to get what they want. I know that Odell Beckham on the Rams would be freaking amazing because we already lost Sammy Watkins. We gave him to the Chiefs. And I feel like OBJ is way better than Sammy Watkins right now. So, like I said, if we get him, cool. I don't necessarily want to give up the first round pick or multiple picks for him because we don't even have 2. So, we don't have 2 first round picks this year. And we've been giving up first round picks for years.
But then again, you guys made so many moves. I don't know if you really need the ones picks right now, because what would you shore up? You already got everything set pretty much.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I feel like we made so many moves that we really don't. Like I feel like if we did get kept our pick, we would probably get offensive tackle because that's generally what we always do. It's just try to bolster up our freaking O-line. So because like we really don't need anybody, and that's what I was saying. Like this is the first time in a long time where I can't really think of anybody that we truly need. Like anybody else will probably just be extra at this point, and we do have the cap space for OBJ if he needs it. So that's the only thing. But it's like the Giants, I would want for them to be more direct with it. And again, we don't have 2 first round picks. Like we could easily give it away, but do they really want? Because I think like we're 22nd. It's either 22nd or 26th. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they actually want that or not because I feel like we're too far ahead in the first round to like really get somebody that the Giants need.
What you think, Flock?
He's a distraction. He's a distraction. I mean,
I'm saying, did we want 2 distractions, Sue and OBJ?
Great talent. Yeah, I mean, great talent. But you put him over there and Ndamukong Suh, like, do you really want that double headache? And then who's to say that they even gonna win with him? I mean, who's to say that? I mean, that they're gonna actually win? Who's to say he's not gonna get hurt again and stuff like that? Because he is injury prone, and Ndamukong Suh is prone to get suspended. So, like I said, it's not even a question of if; it's just a matter of when.
You going from the first to the number 1 city to the number 2 with better weather? You don't think he's gonna clown? He's gonna clown even worse.
I don't think he'll mind either way, staying in New York or going to LA, because I think he loves the cities more than anything. I think he just likes that style. Yeah, that's him, king of whatever city he goes to. Speaking of headaches, wide receiver headaches, the next one, Dez. Rumor is out here in Dallas, Dez Bryant's going to be cut after the draft. I found it kind of strange because they said specifically after the draft. So it's almost like they're basically telling all the teams, if you want him, you're going to have to trade him at the draft. Trade for him at the draft. So did the Rams hold out on OBJ, and maybe if Dez gets cut, go for him? I mean, they're the same kind of player.
I don't want Dez.
What you think about Dez being cut? Flock, let's go ahead and start with you. What do you think about that? You think it's going to happen?
If it happens, I don't know if it is, but if it does, I say perfect land spot for him would be New Orleans.
Yeah, especially with he knows Peyton. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening a lot, actually. I think
Sean Payton's not going to play that with him. Like all those antics and stuff. Sean Payton, you see what happened to Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
Sean Payton's not going to play with him. You know what I mean? Drew Brees, he's going to get the ball from a quarterback that can survey the field. And, it's like, what you got left to complain about? Now, at this point, if he goes over there, he's just going to have to go over there and produce.
You know what team I see him going to, though, the most? The Eagles. I really do see that. Like, if it's
division rival, just to stick it to home.
Here we go. That's this again.
Yep. Nah, I think it's gonna, because it seems like everybody that gets cut, they want revenge against that team. So you've already seen it now with Sherman going to the 49ers.
Do the Eagles want to deal with that though?
I think they would. I really don't see a downside. I mean, we know they have Alshon Jeffries. What's his name though? Torrey Smith. He didn't do much. You know what I mean? They matched Dez and Jeffrey. I mean, I think that'd help both of them, honestly.
I mean, Alshon is an injury-prone receiver, so is Dez Bryant.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to pay all that money for 2 injury-prone receivers? I wouldn't.
I don't know. Like,
I wouldn't. Especially if you coming off a Super Bowl win, most of the time we doing addition by subtraction. They start getting rid of certain pieces and players because some players gonna feel like their stock was going up because they won the championship.
Yeah.
So they're trying to restructure his contract, aren't they? In Dallas.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think
he doesn't want to take a pay cut.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like that's gonna. I don't feel like. I mean, it sounds good. It makes for a good like fantasy story or a revenge story, but on paper, I don't think, like, from a business standpoint, I don't think it's very realistic. Not saying it's impossible. I don't think it's very realistic.
What about the Patriots?
That shit that he pulls is definitely not going to fly over there.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But then again, you've seen players that just want a ring. That just
but I mean, Randy Moss worked over there, even though they didn't win. But that's Randy Moss.
Bennett was, considered, somebody that was a headache, and then he went over there and he was put in line pretty much.
I suppose, but like I said, I don't know, man. This is, if it happens, it happens. I don't really care. I'm not a huge Dez Bryant fan, to be honest with you.
And then some of the little moves that happened, JPP, Giants traded him away. What else happened, JG? Some of the other moves that happened.
Alan Hearns went to the Cowboys. So
yeah, that was one.
They say if Dez stays there, it wouldn't be a bad situation, him and Hearns. Because they definitely need wide receiver help. Terrell Pryor's a Jet now. I'm actually happy about that one. As long as he can produce, because I mean, he didn't do good on the Redskins, but that Brown season when he turned into a wide receiver was pretty monster. Frank Gore, he's back in Miami, so.
Yep, that was pretty interesting. All right, Market King, last cut. Raiders. He's probably one of the most famous punters in the NFL. Is this another sign that maybe Gruden doesn't know today's game, or do you think this is him just doing something to get attention? What do you think's up with the Raiders right now?
This was a surprising one. I don't understand why you would let him go like that. I know that he was getting like, I think, $3 million for a kicker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know that that's a lot, but I mean, it's freaking Maria King.
Punter,
I think he's one of the best, so I don't know why you just let him go like that. I don't know.
It's interesting. I mean, it's the only punter I know by name, actually, I think.
I'm about to say I couldn't name 2 punters. But I could probably name.
I know Hecker because he's a
I know that one that retired recently. What was it, the one for the Eagles? I remember him. I just forgot his name though, but I know him because he had like a interesting story. But yeah, I don't know many punters.
So I don't know. I just feel like in this situation, why even let him go? Like, unless you just want anybody. But I feel like even if it's a punter position, like you should just keep him. Cause like I actually felt like he gave like great energy to the Raiders. He was one of the actual like notable punters, like because punters generally don't like do anything to even get noticed. But like he did
celebratory, he does dances and stuff like that. Yeah, he was a fun guy. That's the thing that made him stand out. He was fun. And I think he was dating one of the Kardashians or something too. I forgot.
Something like that, but
okay, that explains it.
Yeah, if that's it, then that's why he got cursed. That's why he got cut.
I don't know if it was really one of them. Maybe it was a Jenner. I don't know. I know that he was Hollywood though.
In that family tree.
I seen him on SportsCenter or something. That's how I knew who he was. I remember seeing him on SportsCenter with Jamel Hill.
The 6th.
But yeah, I mean, me personally, I always felt like Gruden was one of the most overrated coaches of all time. I really do. I mean, they praised him for winning a championship with Tony Dungy's team in Tampa. he did okay in Oakland.
The funny thing was, I'm glad you mentioned that because I remember they played each other in the Super Bowl the year before, right? Or was it after? Wasn't it Raiders in Tampa Bay when he won?
No, that was when he went to that was the first year he got over there.
Okay. Yeah, it was
the Raiders went to the Super Bowl, but
yeah.
I thought that's when they got rid of Tony Dungy.
I remember saying though, like Tampa Bay needed a coach. I thought the same thing though, and I remember saying if Gruden goes there, they're gonna win, and sure enough, they did. So I mean, I think everybody on that side liked it because I think it was one of those situations where I think it was Warren Sapp actually specifically. For some reason, I don't think him and Dungy were,
after they won the championship, he broke the team up.
Yep.
That's true. Legit broke that team up.
Gruden is a legend down here. Like, ask anybody, like, they love Chucky to death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see him all the time at all these Outback events. He's there. Like, they don't love Gruden because he's the only person that like did something down here besides the Lightning. Like, because the Ravens
that was the first time a team traded a first round pick for a coach, right?
For a coach,
yeah.
So look at all this money he making now, yo. Like, he hasn't coached in what, like 10 years?
Yeah, I think
it's been over 10 years. Yeah.
Like, bruh.
I
guess, man. You like it, I love it.
We'll see what happens. I don't know though. I don't know. We'll see if it works. I mean, he's still young. I guess that's the funny thing about it.
And that team is moving to Vegas, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Right, let's switch to NBA.
Hold on.
Oh, what happened?
There's some more news. Brandon Whedon.
Oh, that's right.
Brandon Whedon got signed to the Texans.
We got to talk about that. All right, so Brandon Whedon goes to Houston Texans. And, of course, Houston, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, was the spot where Colin Kaepernick was spotted throwing the football. That happened to be in Houston also. Now, of course, when Whedon was signed, everybody started saying the same thing. How is Whedon signed and not Kaepernick? So let's go ahead and flood the comment section now. Flock, what do you think about this?
I feel like this is a conversation we had like a year ago about this.
It's still going.
I don't want to keep talking about the Colin Kaepernick thing. I'm sorry, I don't want to make anybody upset. I don't want to, I don't want to just get all riled about it because at this point it's just like we just got to accept that the NFL is practically blackballed this man. All I'm gonna say is, man, if it doesn't work out now, I mean, he's still relatively young. How old is Kaepernick? He's like 31, 32?
I don't even know if he's in the 30s yet, is he?
I'm not sure. But all I'm gonna say is that the XFL is coming, bro.
Yeah, he's 30.
Yeah, the XFL is coming, man. I'm quite sure Vince McMahon will give you a shot.
It's a super wild. Yeah, I kind of feel like Flock.
But then again, Vince McMahon is a Trump supporter, so who knows?
And he said, it's one of the first things he said, like, nobody's gonna be protesting or dealing in my league. Yeah. The same thing that Houston's owner said too, though.
I'm sure he's not gonna do that at this point, because I mean, with all the charitable stuff this man is still doing after being out of the league for 2 years, I mean, somebody's gotta be like, all right, let's get this dude a break, because I've been seeing a lot of what we would consider scrub quarterbacks getting third and fourth chances in this league.
The collusion is super duper real. It's not even like hidden anymore. And the funny thing is, Johnny Manziel is getting looks.
Nah, he wasn't getting looks.
Well, he got interest, is what they say. He got an interest. But watch what's going to happen. Somebody's going to take a chance on Johnny Manziel again.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Over Conley, before Conley? Yes, I do. I think so.
I don't think either one of them is going to do it. I think if there was a quarterback that has a shot at coming back that everybody's kind of wondering about, it would be, what's his name? RG3. That'd be the only one, I think.
Nah, bro. I feel like he faded out to like non-existence now.
I think with him it was just like some self-inflicted shit, like him just not being good anymore. Then he was hurt all the time. So I don't think that has any bearing over teams giving him a look. If he's healthy, I'm sure he'll make an NFL team. RG3 will, but Manziel, all his shit was self-inflicted. And with Colin Kaepernick, we all know what that was about. It was more political, as anything. Is no different than the nonsense with the news chick telling LeBron to shut up and dribble. You know what I mean? So that's just what they think about you, man. When you out here playing, you're good enough to make them money and stuff like that until you start getting hitting their pocket and they bottom line.
Yeah, right now Eric Reed is saying the same thing, that he's not getting looks because of it too.
I was just about to mention that. Yeah, they blackballing him too.
Who else? There was somebody else that's a free agent, right? That also protested. I know that Texans came out and said that they didn't want anybody. Wasn't that something they said? Like they
the Texans. Yeah, they said the same thing. They didn't want nobody protesting.
So it's this conversation that's going to keep on going, because every quarterback that gets signed, no matter who it is, and especially if it is Manziel, especially if it is Tebow, especially if it's any other quarterback, pretty much that's a name that everybody's kind of wondering. If they get hired, especially Manziel, I think that's going to make it even more questionable in regarding the blackball situation. The thing though is, still, if he still has that suit against the NFL, I'll stand by it. I don't think any team is going to be able to hire him because of that. Because I think that the owner of the team that's going to want him, they're going to be all the other owners are going to be like, why are you doing that when you're suing us? So
those owners, that's the good old boys network.
Yeah, I think that he has to drop the suit for him to get looked, and I don't know if that's something that's going to happen, because then everybody's going to wonder, well, then why'd you drop the suit if you think this? And I think it's like a leverage thing at this point. I think it's a checkmate, or not checkmate. What's a stalemate? I think at this point, I think as long as that lawsuit's there, no team is going to bother looking. And I think though, as long as the NFL sees the lawsuit also, I don't think they're going to be looking at him either. So
basically drop the suit if you want to play. If you want to even get a chance.
But then again, that's a loss for him though. If he
drops the suit. To say he drops the suit, they pretend like, okay, you drop the suit, we'll give you, looks and stuff like that. Then he dropped the suit, and then they end up not playing, not doing
exactly.
Nothing. So
exactly, like I said, stalemate at this point.
He'll get more out of that lawsuit than he will in the NFL at this point, because no one's gonna, even if he does go in the league, he's not gonna get the contract that he once was able to get.
Nope.
Not even. They're gonna give him chump change. I feel like the best situation for him, and I don't even know if he can do this now, is again try to band with some people and try to get the Panthers.
Actually, that fell through for Steph Curry and P. Diddy.
Oh, so they just said officially that's not happening. I thought they were still trying to go after.
They ain't trying to have that, man. I told you, just to get the good old boys network.
Nah, yeah, I know they not.
That ain't happening in baseball. It ain't happening in football.
They were minority partners going for it with I forgot, some billionaire out in Charlotte, and they bid like $1 billion, and they got outbid by somebody that's doing $2 billion right now. So they dropped out. Hasn't been signed yet, but them two specifically, Steph and P. Diddy, that group, they dropped out.
Tragic. Would have liked to see it.
It'll happen eventually. I still think Oprah's gonna be the next NFL owner. I don't know why she hasn't done it yet. Probably your Rams. That's a perfect one right there. All right, LiAngelo declares for the NBA draft. All right, we're switching to NBA. And after he announced that he dropped like 70-something points in another one of those baller league challenge things, that's pretty much just a setup. The game, specifically that game that he got the 72 points, was all against like some Chinese team that were all like 15-year-olds or something like that. So it was.
So he beating up on kids that are younger than him.
Exactly. This should have been more of a, like, what Melo looked like, but LiAngelo got 72 on them. But he's declared for the NBA draft. Obviously, I think whenever he announced going to the league, everybody said this was no way he's going to be drafted. Do you think he has a chance now that he played for a somewhat pro league that he really didn't do much at? But what do you think, JG?
No. If he goes to the NBA draft, he's not going to get picked. That's what I think.
I don't think so either. Flock?
At best, a draft and stash, something like that. At best, and that's me being nice. I don't want to see nobody like not have a dream met, but I just feel like sometimes, man, you know what they say, sins of the father. It was just a lot of that. I think had they not taken that approach, because I mean Lithuania, bro. It ain't like say like Emmanuel Mudiay. He went where did he go to play for that 1 year?
Was
he went
it,
to he was
Spain?
in was it no, I think he was in China?
Was it China? Actually, I think I know he was in. He was popular there too, right? He didn't.
Yeah,
Score last
I
year.
mean, Stephon Marbury is a god in China.
Oh yeah.
Stephon Marbury is 40 years old. You think he can do that stuff in the NBA at 40? I don't think so. I mean, not everybody is Vince Carter. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but call me crazy, but I just don't. I'm not that impressed, yo. It's like saying you scored 50 points against everybody, your aunties and uncles and stuff at the local barbecue.
Exactly.
I'm not impressed. I'm not. I just wasn't that impressed. I'm not gonna say the kid can't ball because he obviously can. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about him. But he just, I'm just not impressed. Just not.
You better go to the G League because even if he does get drafted, like Flock said, at bare minimum, if he does get drafted,
I was about to say that, but I was gonna let you take that G League plug.
Yeah, they're not gonna play him, bro. He's gonna go to G League and then he's gonna be mad. Well, it's not gonna be him. It's gonna be his pops that's gonna be mad. He's probably not gonna allow it, and then some other controversy is gonna start.
And then it's gonna affect Lonzo's contract situation down the road. Watch.
You know, and then the other brother, and then Melo not gonna be able to come in.
But I said this before, man, that these boys, like they were just like, you out of the three, only one of them was really the one that could do that. The other two, you know what I'm saying, the middle son, he's okay. There's nothing really special about him. He wasn't gonna play that much at UCLA.
Yeah,
he wasn't gonna play that much at UCLA. And they knew that. That's why after all the nonsense, they were gonna take him out of there regardless. And he wasn't gonna, because he's gonna see he wasn't playing. He was gonna take him out of there regardless. Then the youngest one, I mean, it's so many holes in his game. Yeah, he can shoot, but I mean, if I got kids that ain't really playing defense, I can shoot.
The good thing about him is he still has time. You know what I mean? He's only 16, right? So
yeah, but at the time, I mean, right now, you still got to be 19 to get in the league.
Yep. But I mean, since now he is playing quote unquote pro ball over there in Lithuania. At least he's getting, he's getting on the job training pretty much. So I think by the time he's 19, he could be like what Moody and all that. I think teams can look at him like that. Like, okay, he has a lot of talent. He's actually been playing pro style. He probably has another growth spurt in him around that time. So who knows what his size would be at that time. But he might be somebody that's worth a look. He might get drafted in the second round, or depending on how good he is in a few years down the road. But I could still see him having a path to the NBA. I think LiAngelo's biggest downfall, though, was one, that whole China thing that happened, with the stealing and all that stuff. So
stupid.
So that just killed his stock with that team in UCLA, because they weren't going to play him. He was probably going to be gone for the year anyway, suspension, whatnot. And then if he had they were already saying that he wasn't going to be good enough to start probably. So even if he stuck it out and then played, he would have had to wait 2 years and then just to try to prove he's good. And yeah, it was just a mess. I think that's the reason why LeVar did this route, was to try to get him some exposure. And I think he got a little bit of it. Obviously, people were interested in it. But I don't think it's going to be enough to get, to repair the damage that's done. I don't think he's going to get drafted either. We'll see if he even gets.
You were really talking like the Lakers is really going to waste the first round pick on him.
Yeah, no way.
No, bro. Trust me, he'll be there from whenever y'all need him, if they want him.
Yeah, that was like a whole series of bad events that happened. If that never happened, we probably would have been looking at UCLA a little bit differently. Lonzo would have had his rookie season that he's had now, and then maybe Angelo goes in there, and if he would have scored a game with 20, 30 points, then people would be like, okay, well, maybe he is like his brother, and then that would have been a different situation. But now it's just completely out the window, I think. All right, let's go over to some 76 news. Embiid. Fultz comes back, does some screen or something, and then Embiid crashes into him.
Cursed.
Fractures his face. What was it? Concave cheek? I forgot what it was.
Broken orbital bone.
Oh, there you go.
And a concussion.
There's no concussion.
Well, they said it at first, but
because he passed the concussion protocol, okay. he was good on that. He just got to get the orbital bone surgery thing done, and he's gonna be out for like 2 to 4 weeks. Then when he comes back, he's gonna have to wear those
the mask, right?
The mask joint or the glasses, whichever one.
So, do you think this hurts the Sixers' chances of going to the next round?
Absolutely.
I mean, the playoffs. I mean, he'll come back right when the playoffs start. So
I don't know if he would.
If it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If it's 2 weeks, if it's 4 weeks, then again they better pray that they're still winning. I just find it super ironic that Markelle Fultz ended up being the one that injured him.
Yeah, he was the one that did it.
I'm
Yeah.
like, bro,
all year long, and he's the one that hurt your best player.
As soon as I saw the news, I said, "All right, who did it?" And they said Markelle Fultz. I said, "Oh Lord, you shouldn't even came back to play, bro. Like they were actually doing fine without you. I understand you want to come back, but I feel like you came back at the wrong time for this stuff to happen."
Oh,
that's just super ironic, but hopefully he makes a speedy recovery because that's again not a good look. I feel like Embiid was finally getting on his stride. Didn't they take the back-to-back restriction off of him?
Just started it.
Yeah. So like, man, like I said,
I like
Embiid,
Embiid, you know?
I do too. I actually like him.
Cool. Next to Boogie, I would put him right there, the best center.
The fact that he said that, he said, I don't even be practicing or whatever, just be watching tape, watching other people play. Like, if he does that for real and he plays like he plays, man, he's special. He's special. He just got to stay healthy. But, again, freak accidents like this happen. This is not good, man.
Curse.
I think he'll be all right, though. It just sucks that he had to have the surgery. Because at first, everybody thought maybe it was just a bruise and that they would put the mask on him and whatnot, or if it was a small fracture that it will heal with the mask. But surgery though, that's what made because if he takes a hit,
because then you gotta figure out what
Derrick
team
Rose had that, right?
Man, what hasn't happened to Derrick Rose? I don't even know.
I think the most famous one was Rip Hamilton, right? Did he have that too?
Yeah, then he couldn't play without the mask after that.
Right? Yeah, he was to them ago. Nah, it wouldn't happen. He had to keep them on. So. Yeah, Derrick Rose had to wear a mask too, so
crazy. Alright, next one. Tyronn Lue leave the Cavs due to health issues. We're talking about this because we haven't had the show in a while. What do you guys think about Tyronn? I was thinking that he
LeBron James. LeBron James.
So there was a lot of tinfoil theories about it. It looked like he was gonna get fired. I thought maybe because they've been fighting a lot. Is his health reasons because of LeBron James? You think he's having headaches? What's going on?
I mean, yeah, he's probably stressing them out. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it is, bruh. We gonna act like that ain't the truth? I mean, elephant in the room. I'm sure it's gonna be some fan that's gonna tell us we don't know what we talking about in the comment section, and I'm quite sure you probably already typed it by now. But I'm certain like that has all but everything to do with it. What's
funny is that he made his return to the Cavs. I think was it yesterday, today, or something like that. But sitting on the court, not even on their bench.
He's observing. Is what they said.
Yeah, what is going on?
I think he's just trying to stay away because we've seen plenty of situations where like they've gotten into heated arguments, LeBron and Lue. So
why not fire him then? Are they waiting for LeBron to leave and then say, okay, well we like you as a coach, you're staying, or do you think if LeBron stays and they'll say, all right, so see you, Lue, what's going on? Well, I mean, it's a weird situation. I think it's awkward at this point.
I mean, it might be. I don't know, but the funny thing is though, with LeBron being the official player coach, they've been winning games. So.
Yeah, they have, and he's been doing good too.
Yes. So I really don't know. I don't know what to say about this situation. I feel like Tyronn Lue. I feel like he kind of played like a Spoelstra role. Because I don't think that Spoelstra is a good coach. I just think that he was the person who's just there. He's just the face. He's kind of like the president's like official role. Like you're just a face. You can't really make too many decisions.
I think he became a good coach
when he left.
I think he. I'm talking about Spoelstra. I think he became a good coach because you got to look at what he did with that Heat team that almost came back and got to the playoffs after winning all those games in a row. I mean, he did a lot with very little. I don't want to discredit Eric Spoelstra because I think he's one of those coaches that don't get enough credit. One of those coaches that people say, oh, he had a stacked team, he had a top heavy team. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but you still gotta win it. I mean, at some point you still gotta win. People said the same thing about Phil Jackson. I mean, Phil Jackson he had Jordan and Pippen, but those are only 2 All-Stars. It ain't like he had 4 All-Stars like Steve Kerr does. You know what I mean? Everybody's going over there taking less money to play for them like they're doing with the Warriors now. You didn't have that then. So it's like you still got to win those games. I mean, they took losses just like he did with the Lakers when he had, he's like, oh, well, he had Malone and Gary Payton. But guess what? They still got dusted in the finals to the Detroit Pistons. So I mean, you still got to go out there and win those games. That's what I'm saying. Spoelstra, I don't want to discredit him as a coach. He is still a good coach to me.
Very interesting.
Tyronn Lue, on the other hand,
I think he's a horrible coach. I've always thought
I'm not gonna call him a horrible coach. I just think that he was just the product of having the best player in a highly diluted league in Eastern Conference, shall I say?
I think it was the same thing. Like what's his name? Fish. What's his name? Derek Fisher. There you go. I think that just they wanted to have like this young coach kind of thing. He could be the new wave of good coaches, et cetera, but they're just bad. And he was gone. He couldn't do nothing with the Knicks. And I think Lou is just lucky that he has LeBron to look like he's doing something.
I feel like in Lou's situation, when he ended up getting the head coaching job, I feel like he was the person that initially all the other players confided in. Because he was like that cool guy who like you could talk to and like express your opinion.
When he was assistant. Right?
Yeah, when he was the assistant coach. Now that he's the regular, like the actual coach, now he's really getting the heat when they lose.
Mm-hmm.
So now he can't take it anymore, and I believe the stress did get to him. That's why he's having health issues now.
So do you think he's gone no matter what? Do you think he's gone no matter what? Why not just retire then? Do you think it's
No, I don't think he'll be gone no matter what. If LeBron leaves, like you said, I think that they'll keep him. Well, if LeBron actually stays, probably gonna try to get rid of him.
That's just a weird situation for him. Well, good luck, Tyronn Lue. I hope your health is good, and we'll see what happens. But I think we all know. I think we all kind of had that feeling that this was a LeBron headache, which goes back to what I said the last podcast. I'm starting to think there's a pattern here. A lot of teammates have been saying it. Coaches have been saying it. I don't know if a coach has ever come out to say, hey, LeBron is the best player. I think there's something up with LeBron where he's just too, I don't know if I wouldn't say it's too competitive, but it's just like is he a bad teammate?
People said the same thing about Jordan. People said the same thing about Kobe Bryant. They just held their teammates accountable. Like, look, I'm doing all the heavy lifting. I need you to do this and just do this well. I can't sit here and say, yeah, is he probably a little much? I think he's a diva. Yeah, I do. I think LeBron James is the ultimate diva, but that comes from, when you coming out of high school, everybody kissing your ass, you're gonna feel entitled. You're gonna feel like this. I mean, yeah, he's the best player in the league. So
do you think then that if he goes to the Lakers or the Sixers, as everybody's
he's not going to the Sixers, bro.
But let's
why would he go to the Sixers and derail that boy's development as a player?
But why? But he won't be looking like that. And he's not.
That's exactly what it's gonna do, though. But that's what it's gonna do. He has to see that they're basically the same type of player, minus LeBron James' explosiveness and the ability to hit a semi-consistent jump shot.
But if you're him, are you looking at it like that? Or are you looking at, okay, Philadelphia's on the rise, and I'm the piece to get him over the hump?
I don't know, man. I don't know if LeBron James going over there is gonna, do the thing. Yeah, granted, you playing with Embiid, but can you depend on Embiid to be healthy for a full season? I mean, Ben Simmons, they're basically the same type of player. LeBron likes to surround himself with shooters, bro. Like shooters. What shooters do they have over there in Philadelphia?
Just JJ. Robert Covington has been a no-show.
He's a free agent after this season.
So if you're LeBron, where are you going? Where are you signing if you're not staying in Cleveland?
At this point, I would say San Antonio.
Especially now that it looks like
who knows what's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
I would say San Antonio. But do LeBron really want to go to the West? You got to take a lot of stuff into consideration before you speculate like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think LeBron is better suited for staying in the Eastern Conference, because I figure it's the easier way for him to at least get to the finals, to have a fighting chance of actually winning it. I think he goes anywhere other than Golden State, he has to go there and actually beat Golden State. He's not going to get to the finals.
What about Houston?
I was about to say Houston is definitely an enticing spot for him to go. But you gotta think, what type of player is he gonna be playing with? Can he really play with James Harden and Chris Paul, both ball dominant players? LeBron James needs the ball in his hand.
I think he's always wanted to play with Paul. I think that he's not, the banana boat crew.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have to be too passive.
Exactly.
Which is not going to happen.
I think though he can adapt to that, because obviously in Cleveland he's doing all the heavy lifting, and I think that's going to take a toll eventually. I mean, he's a freak of nature right now, so he's not, hasn't affected him, but that's a lot to ask for in his body. He's starting to get up there in age. I'm not saying he's old. I know the conversation is probably going to jump on that comment, but he's not the same guy. So I think he probably would welcome a change like that at Houston, to not always be the guy. I think he would like a Harden to take the load, or a Chris Paul to do something, so he doesn't have to.
He did that in Miami too, so
yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think maybe Houston would be the only shot the only team that I can see now. I know a lot of people will say Lakers, Sixers, because of the, he wants to win a lot and be young, have a young team around him. But I don't see him doing that. I don't know if he likes being this guy that yells at everybody. And I could just already see him just screaming at Lonzo Ball.
He want to get a bunch of knuckleheads, bro. He gonna be yelling at Josh Hart to tell him to stop playing Fortnite or something, because his game is all whack.
Same with Simmons. He gonna tell Simmons.
Yeah, he gonna tell him stop playing PUBG. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm kind of just tired of like the where will LeBron go mess. I just think he should just stay in Cleveland, because like anywhere else, it just seemed like it's going to be problematic.
See, I don't know if he would, because all the people they brought in, they're all rent-a players. So that team is literally going to be gutted after this.
Yeah,
gutted.
I know that.
And there's nothing now.
Being the same situation he was in when he first went to Cleveland.
Exactly. We'll see.
I mean, he still got Kevin Love.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a kind of a
freaking getting his teeth knocked out. Like,
yeah, but he's injury prone.
Yeah, this man Kevin Love he's a mess too. And then he's been having depression issues.
LeBron is a machine, bro. This dude just never gets hurt.
Nah, I know, but man, you can't ask him to do that every game. Though, man, he's playing like 38 minutes this season. I mean, that's a lot for.
But you don't want that. You don't want that to happen. I would hate to see his career end the way like Kobe's did, where he gets 35 and then his body breaks down on him for playing so many years, all those games, all those minutes, because that's what happened. Like, a lot of people compare Kobe to Jordan, but that was the difference between Kobe and Jordan. Jordan's durability at 35 was definitely better than Kobe's at 35, and he was winning championships at 35. That's why I think Houston, I think he would welcome a Houston change. He just to have like players that, because that's the one thing we know that Dwayne Wade was a great player. We know that Bosh was a great player, but it seemed like they still needed him to be the machine. Harden can be the machine. He doesn't need to be the machine. You know what I mean? I think that's what he needs. We talking about Le Coach. We talking about Le GM. He has to have his moments, yo. He has to be the stat sheet stuffer.
He'll have it. I think he'll have it. I think Harden is somebody that would give up. He wanted Howard to be successful. He tried his hardest to make that happen.
Yeah, but Dwight Howard was a little bitch. We know that.
Exactly.
Do you think that LeBron is willing to be a 10-5, 10 player?
Yeah.
I think he would be like Shaq and Kobe. I think they both can get their 30s. I think though it just doesn't have to be to where he needs to get the 30 in the fourth quarter. I think he can have Harden.
Who's handling the ball in this instance though? Because I mean, it has to be Chris Paul. It would be Paul.
That's
what I'm saying. It has to be Chris Paul. It's like, because we know LeBron James has to have the ball in his hand. LeBron hardly ever plays off ball.
That's true. That'd be interesting.
Same with James Harden. He dribbles for 16 seconds. Like, that's what he does.
That's gonna drive LeBron crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I can't see that working. That's why I didn't see Carmelo going over there working, because he's the same type of player. Ball dominant, has to jab step, ISO. You know, that's his game, and that's why it's not working in OKC with him.
Yep. We'll see. All right, let's go move a little bit more. John Wall set to return. Wizards, are they back now? What do you think?
No.
I mean, Otto Porter just got hurt.
Yep, exactly.
So they back from scratch.
They're still going to get knocked out first round, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, these dudes not healthy. They're not gonna do it. Even with a healthy team, they're a second round team.
It would be Cleveland they played, right? If it ended today,
They wouldn't beat Cleveland. With all of them healthy, they wouldn't beat Cleveland.
Like, I like Bradley Beal. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that they. I don't know who else that they need in order to actually get over the hump.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Maybe an actual, I don't know, maybe a center, because I don't think Gortat is that dude anymore. But
yeah, go talk about somebody that just fell apart at 35, whatever, man. He's disappeared.
Yeah, so I like the Wizards, but whatever.
Yeah, good luck to us. I think John Wall. I think it's one of those situations where he's coming in a little too late. Like, he's going to need this week to kind of build chemistry, but at this point, you know, fighting for the seeding right now. Actually, they're still fighting for. Actually, it's just seeding because right now Miami and Milwaukee are like all right there with them. So they're trying to either avoid Cleveland or avoid playing Boston and Toronto at this point. So it's yeah, good luck with that for all three of those teams. Isaiah Thomas, speaking of Cleveland and Celtics and now Lakers, hip surgery. Do you think that he was rushed to play because of all the talk and stuff like that with Cleveland? Do you think this hurt him?
He rushed himself.
He did rush himself.
Because at the end of the day, it's your decision. You know your body better than anybody else. No coach, nobody can tell me I'm hurt or I'm not hurt. You know what I'm saying? You can't. Like, you just can't. You're not in my body. You don't know. So I feel like he rushed himself because he was playing for a big time contract. Now he's going to be playing for his career. Yep. Now he's going to be getting a bunch of 1-year deals instead of getting that 4-year deal that he was so coveted. You know, he was coveting that 4-year deal.
He was in line for a max contract. He really was.
He was talking it too much though. It's like one of the things where, like, at some point you just got to let your game do the talking. And I granted, I felt so bad for him, the shit that happened like with his sister and stuff like that, and the fact that he came back and played his heart out, but he was playing hurt then.
Yep.
So I felt like he should have just stayed out until he was really ready to go. And if it showed that he came back too soon, then yeah, now you should have just sat out until you were good. Then you ball out. Then you play for that, for that max deal or whatever you're trying to go for. Don't come back early and then be just a shell of who you were. Because if you was 6'5", yeah, you have a better opportunity at getting that having it happen for you. But at 5'9", any slip up, they're gonna be like, nah, we good.
Yep.
I don't care how good you played 2 years ago or a season ago. NBA, just like any other sports league, is what have you done for me lately type of league. We could just sit here and say, oh, you had two good years in the league. Okay. What you do now?
A perfect situation for that point is what's happening in Detroit with Reggie Jackson. Man, he was like the 8-point guard, and now it's kind of like
always hurt.
Yeah, now it's kind of like, yeah, maybe we do like Ish Smith, Right.
Like, yeah, and OKC is like, see, told you. I mean, it's like we made the right move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think, JG?
I mean, I really like Isaiah Thomas. I like his game. I like his heart. But yeah, I mean, I would have to agree. I think that he kind of just rushed himself. I would expect him to get injured like that and then have to get surgery again. So like I said, it's a bad situation. I didn't like his situation with the Lakers anyways. I didn't like that they ended up the Cleveland ended up dealing him off. And then he became second fiddle to freaking Lonzo, who's also been injury prone this year. Like, I just think after your situation in Boston, like after everything that you went through and you actually proving yourself to be that starting point guard, it's for you to go back to the bench. But again, once you get injured, I mean, you can't really make an argument against it anymore.
Yeah. And to Flock's point, he was in line for a big contract, but now, let's say a year for this surgery, because I think now it's going to be at least 6 months recovery, and then he's going to have to work and do everything slowly this time, not rush. So I think he's going to miss at least half the season next year. At least half. That's minimum. He might miss a whole year, in my opinion, but let's just say half.
I just want to state this real quick. Even if he wasn't injured, if I'm running an organization, do I want Isaiah Thomas to be my starting point guard? No.
After the first hip injury, no.
I'm saying even before that. Isaiah Thomas is not a point guard that you build your team around, He shoots too much. He's highly inefficient. He only averages like 3 assists a game. Like I don't want to bank the future of my franchise on a 5'9" point guard that shoots too much.
If he never got hurt and he was still with Boston and he still had this good season, and
that's because that system worked for him. It worked for him last year and the year before that. But with these new guys that they brought in, like, you know, I mean, look how much better Jaylen Brown is playing this year as opposed to how he played last year. You get what I'm saying? Mm. Everybody around him, like when you get an Al Horford and stuff like that, like these guys need somebody who can facilitate. That's what they need. They don't need to be playing ISO or waiting for this guy to decide whether he's gonna dribble the ball and shoot ill-advised shots and stuff. He takes a lot of bad shots. Now he has heart. I give him that. I like his determination, but I wouldn't put him as a starting point guard on my team. I'm sorry. I would rather have a Ish Smith as my starting point guard than Isaiah Thomas. I really would.
I do think though that if
with that caliber, with those players that's on Boston now, I wouldn't want Isaiah Thomas as my starting point guard. Now, if I had nobody, then yeah.
See, I think the Knicks would have done it. The Knicks would have gave him a big contract, I think.
But see, who does the Knicks have other than Porzingis?
That's why they would have done it. That's what I'm saying. The Knicks would have done it just because one, he would have been a name. He would have been somebody that could bring people in the seats.
You think Gordon Hayward would have signed with them if they kept Isaiah Thomas and not got Kyrie Irving?
Oh no, they actually had Hayward first. Remember?
No, he wasn't going to sign with them. But he wasn't going to sign with them.
Yeah, he was.
I don't think he would have signed with them.
I'm pretty sure that he already was intent to sign. They just couldn't do it and make it official until something like. But then the trade happened. But he was there before Kyrie. But they just happened to do the press conference at the same time after they did that surprise.
Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't see how that very well would have worked. I really don't. I think he would have derailed those young guys like a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's progression.
Well, we could definitely give credit to the front office. They knew that he had that surgery. They knew that he wasn't going to probably be the same player, and they knew if Kyrie was available, they were going to go ahead and do everything they can to get him. And Cleveland still fell for it, even after they found out about the hip and all.
In panic mode.
So, yeah. All right. Speaking of this injury and rushing back, Kawhi Leonard, apparently the team held a closed-door meeting, intervention of sorts to say, hey, we really need you. San Antonio is slipping. In fact, they've been playing pretty good lately, but at one point they were pretty far down there. Now they're back in the 4th seed, but again, everybody's like one game away from each other, so they could easily fall back to 8.
From 4 through 7. Yeah, it's like a couple games apart.
Yep. So the players are saying, hey, come back. Obviously the team doctor cleared him. His personal doctor didn't clear him or something like that. So he said he was coming back on a Thursday last week. He didn't. And now it's kind of like he's not going to play. I don't even know what's going on. Apparently his friend came out and said he loves San Antonio. What do you think is going on with Kawhi Leonard right now, JG?
Man, this is a weird situation. I honestly don't know. For someone to be so quiet, like I can't even gauge him. Like what is the issue at this point? I really don't know. Like, is he truly injured? Does he just not want to play for Pop anymore? There's something going on with those two. I honestly do not know. This is one of the weirdest situations. I really can't call it. I don't know what the issue is. Like, Kawhi is clearly your best player. I know that LaMarcus Aldridge is actually showing out. He's doing a really good job right now. But Kawhi was a guy. Like, that's a guy who you wanted to actually build around. He's so quiet. He's really like a Tim Duncan. He doesn't say much. He just gets the job done. And you know what his potential is. But like, what's really happening? It doesn't seem like a typical Spurs type of situation, and that's what really baffles me. Like, nobody else has been complaining about anything, and I never would have thought in a million years that Kawhi would have been the person who they've been having an issue with. Like, it's like, okay, you're injured, okay, that's fine. You know, you don't come back until you're fine. But now you say that you're fine, and they still won't let you play. You blame it on the organization for not treating your injury properly. And they say you're going to come back this week, and then you still don't come back, and then this meeting happens. So I don't know. I honestly don't know.
When I heard about the meeting, the first thing I thought of was Ricky Bobby, in Talladega Nights. Like, oh, I'm in the wheelchair, and don't talk about me. And they like, no, you're fine.
Right.
It was like, what do you think, Flock? What's going on, man? What's going on in San Antonio?
It's tricky, man. I don't know. Like, I didn't expect this, especially from him. I mean, you got teammates saying stuff, and that I'm sure that stuff that Tony Parker and Ginobili and shit is what they saying is basically coming from Popovich. He's just not gonna say it publicly.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's coming from them, coming from him rather. And I don't know, is this one of those cases where I think he's a perfectionist, like as far as like with his body and how he feels. He doesn't want to go out there and not feel like he's 100% and can contribute 100%. And also, when you have a coach or somebody like that, like a lot of coaches, if they've never played, they can't really gauge on like injuries and stuff like that. They can sit here and say, oh, well, he should be fine. He should be good to go after a couple games. And it's like, no, this is what's wrong with me. You have no idea how long it's going to take. I'll let you know how long it's going to take. A lot of like, you have a handful of coaches that's never played, like guys like Thibodeau and Popovich. These guys have never played. Steve Kerr could tell you, like, he could relate more so about how Klay Thompson feels or how Kevin Durant may feel or something like that because he's played.
Yeah.
But I don't expect for those type of coaches to understand. So, I mean, playing devil's advocate, I mean, it may be something really wrong, or if they rush him back. I mean, I seen this happen to Grant Hill. Where he got misdiagnosed for his ankle, and his ankle was hurting worse than people kept making it out to. He got misdiagnosed saying he was good to go. He come back, and in the playoffs, ankles get broken in like 2000. Ankle ended up broken, and he went on record saying, look, I was actually relieved to know my ankle was broken, because now I know it's not me. I'm not going crazy, because people thought he was faking, and he was just trying to get out of town and stuff like that, because the team wasn't that great or whatever. But people just thought can go all off on a tangent and think that these athletes are faking. Not all of them are like that. I seen it happen to Penny Hardaway, where he would take games off and stuff like that, and then he come back and try to rush back, and then he get hurt again. Tracy McGrady, same way. It's like, you gotta let these players heal, man. That's a long season, man. 82 games is a long season for that sport of basketball. Now, granted, they stretching it out a little bit more so now with like limited back-to-backs, but it's still a tough, grueling season, man. And you go hard like that, who knows if maybe he doesn't want to be there anymore. I don't know. None of us will ever know.
It does sound like, just reading some of the pieces, it does sound like there's a trust issue, because he did come back for the one game, and I'm assuming that
he played 9 games all season.
Yeah, when he did come back though in January, he got like 30 points, and he got hurt the very next day, whatever it was, or that game, I guess. It almost seems like maybe the doctors told him he was all right, and he wasn't the whole time, and maybe that's why he's like, no, I'm not listening to you guys no more.
Right.
And that makes sense. Maybe that's why he's saying that his personal doctor still hasn't cleared him. But if everybody's saying medical record wise and like whatever it is that everything is good, it almost seems like it's personal at this point. And I think that's what makes it weird. And then why would the team have an intervention with him about it if obviously all the players know that what who's injured, whatnot, and how they will feel if they were injured? Why would they have that if it's really an injury? So man, this is what makes it so weird. It's almost like maybe Kawhi has it out for somebody in the organization. I don't know if it's Pop himself, which is kind of strange because everybody seems to love Pop. And but then everything coming out, they're saying that he's happy and he's fine. Man, it's just so weird.
Like, is it an intervention
he needs to say something?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, because he hasn't said anything. Is it an intervention to get him to stop playing, or intervention to get him to play?
To get him to play is apparently what it was. It was like a closed door meeting to get him to play, saying, hey, you're not hurt no more. What's going on? We really need you. We're desperate at this point.
Is he having a Derrick Rose situation where he just...
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe mentally, I don't know. Mentally. That's the thing.
Or is it like the alleged Tom Brady and Belichick situation where they are literally having beef?
Or maybe like back in Kobe and Shaq days where they're really fighting and that no one wants to say anything about it. I don't know. I mean, it's just so strange because, like Flock said, you just don't expect it to be that team and those two, Kawhi and Pop. It's just baffling,
right?
It's like it would be like Tim Duncan saying he always hated Popovich. If he kept it, that's a shock, right? So I can't imagine.
Don't seem right.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. All right, so final thoughts. Let's talk about baseball real quick. Stanton debuting with the 2 home runs for the Yankees. JG, what do you think about?
I mean,
you got to see him up close, right?
He did terrible today, though. He did terrible. He did terrible today. So maybe that was just
you strike out 3 straight times next game. It's baseball. That's just how baseball works.
It really is, though. It really is. It depends on what pitcher, and sometimes you get surprised. But I mean, he's setting records. I know that everybody in New York that's a Yankees fan was super duper proud about that one.
I think what I did like about today is that we didn't need Judge and Stanton to do anything to still win. So I still think that our lineup is so dangerous that even the bottom guys can damage you because of those two in the lineup.
Yeah, yeah, a little injury though. Greg Bird, I think.
Aaron Hicks.
Yeah, Hicks just got out, so y'all got to really rely on them. But y'all be all right. Y'all be all right. It's only 2 games in, so. But,
What's your favorite baseball team, Flock?
You already know.
Why you even ask him?
I know. I wanted him to say the NFL or something. Since everything was baseball.
Right, I know, right? Then I probably would have said the Ravens, but Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, I don't think I asked you, but how are you feeling about your acquisitions to the Red Sox? Mainly JD Martinez. You like it or not?
I think that was pretty good. He got some questionable fielding, but it's a bat, yo. I mean, you can never have enough bats. I mean, they got to try to keep up with the Yankees, man.
Well, the bullpen is probably your biggest worry right now because they blew that game yesterday.
Yeah.
And
it's early. It's early, so it's too early to even. I don't even watch baseball I don't even really watch baseball that much until the NBA playoffs is over with. I'm not gonna even lie.
So basically, like mid-season.
Yeah, I don't really watch it until mid-season.
Yeah,
right before the All-Star break. That's when I started watching.
I used to only watch it when the playoffs came around. That was only if the Cardinals were in it. But now since I'm doing fantasy baseball, I'm watching a lot more games.
Yeah, that makes you watch. That really makes you watch it in a different way too.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about fantasy is that it actually makes you pay attention to other players too. Because I remember back in the days, I used to look at teams and wonder why they cheer for this guy or that guy. And it's like, that guy sucks. But then when you play him and you have fantasy, like, oh no, that guy's actually pretty good.
Ooh. I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot about like people's trends and what they can do. How you feel about Pedroia though, Flock? This man is still injured.
Yeah, it's rough, man. He's
a legend out there.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the greats in Boston. So I mean, the fans love him because he's one of those grit and grind type of players. So I mean, I'm sure when he gets back, he's gonna come back and do work like he always does. He's only like 34, something like that. So he still got a few good years left in him. I mean, second base, they may end up moving him, at some point if he can't move the way he used to. But that's just how baseball is, if you can't hit, especially in the American League, you can't field anymore. They just throw you at DH. So, yeah. So they'll find a spot for him. They either move him to third or too short to play first base. But
what about your Cardinals? What do you think about the Cubs and all them? They look like they're still good.
I mean, the Cubs will be the Cubs. I feel like they're still all right, but I don't know. I still feel like we need that one person that's just gonna like bring us back to our status. We had Mark McGwire, we had Pujols, and we still really haven't had anybody since like a real big bat.
Boy, did that dude fall off after he left?
Yeah. He wanted that money, so he getting that money to be trash now, whatever. But yeah, I mean, we're still trying to formulate our squad. I mean, we made a couple moves, but I really wanted Stanton though. I feel like Stanton was gonna be that next one for us, but the good old Yankees took another one.
Yeah, thank you, Jeter.
Whatever, bro. Jeter's a fucking asshole for that shit.
Right, they lost Stanton and Yelich.
Yeah, and he's sitting there like, oh, everything is cool, with my former team, so I don't really care.
I don't know. They gave you Yelich, though, didn't they? Wasn't that the Cardinals?
Nah, Yelich went to Milwaukee.
Yelich went to
we got Ozuna.
Miami.
Yeah, we got Ozuna.
Yeah, they got Ozuna.
I'm about to say Ozuna straight. He's not Stanton, but he did good last year.
Yeah.
But like I said, we still need that one good bat that'll bring us back to our former glory. Well, we'll try to work it out. We'll see what happens.
big name free agent after this season. Harper.
Yeah.
There you go.
If Harper goes to the fucking Yankees, bro, with Stanton there, oh my God, I'm going to.
There's only 2 spots. There's only 2 landing spots for him if he don't stay in Washington.
What do you think, Boston, New York?
No, it's going to be New York or Chicago. He's going to the Cubs or he's going to the
Cubs.
Yankees.
That's right.
Absolutely die.
He's going to the Cubs or he's going to the Yankees.
If he goes to the Yankees or the Cubs, I'm quitting baseball, bro. I swear to God.
Can you imagine that, Judge?
If he goes with the Cubs, so I ain't gonna lie.
Or the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs are stacked also. I think they're very.
You got Rizzo, Bryant.
I mean, they can use him out there in right field. I wouldn't mind watching a couple of Cubs games.
Nah, he good. He good. Go to NY, bro.
Watch him when they play the Cardinals and beat them down.
Nah, I can't deal with that anymore. They did lose a good pitcher though. I was actually surprised about that one.
I can't believe they didn't sign Arrieta, man. That's crazy.
Now I can actually cheer for Arrieta because I used to fucking hate him because he's a Cub, but
I think he's still not active though. So
is he? So
he's not even active.
They signed him in Philly. He's still not active. That's interesting.
Really? What happened? Is he hurt?
I don't know what it was. It just said he was not active. I have no idea. I didn't really look into. I haven't had time to really look into.
Because I know that the Cardinals just signed Greg Holland, so that's gonna be a nice closer for us. But
damn,
I don't know what's going on with Arrieta.
Speaking of the Cubs,
yeah, he's
all right. Anything else? Last thoughts, JG? Anything?
I think we pretty much covered it all.
We covered plenty.
Yeah, we really did.
This was an extra long show because we missed a couple of weeks, so. Sorry about that. Flock, what about you? Anything? Any thoughts?
No, like I said before, I'm sure somebody will get triggered in the comments and tell us we don't know what we're talking about and stuff like that. So, for that, if you're that person, thank you for your support. Continue to watch.
Oh, we did. You know what? We did forget to talk about something real quick. The Jets, the trades that the Jets made to get to number 3, and the situation with the Browns. Are they going to pick a quarterback? Now that the Jets look like they're going to get a quarterback at 3, do you think the Browns are going to pick the running back first and just have their quarterback follow them at 4? Or do you think now they're forced to pick Darnold first and hope that Parker goes to 4 or falls?
Man, because like I said, I just feel like so many teams would be stupid to pass on Barkley in the top 4.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I don't know though, because again, the Browns just have a good situation. And
see, I think it just makes too much sense. Pick Barkley at 1, so that you're getting him, and you're gonna have a top 3 quarterback.
Yeah, you're still gonna have him.
Yeah, exactly. Now, apparently, everybody loves Darnold all of a sudden. Like Darnold had a great pro day or something.
Man,
and
I don't feel like he still should jump up to number 1. Like I still don't believe in Darnold. I know a lot of people like Josh Allen too because he had a good day, but that makes Wyoming. I don't know. I don't know about.
To me, I think Mayfield's the best quarterback on the board. That's me though. But a lot of people are saying Allen. A lot of people are saying Rosen. A lot of people are saying Darnold. So it's almost like if that's the case, then just go ahead and pick Barkley 1. And just pick whoever happens to be there at 4. You know it's going to be one of the top 3.
Yeah, and in that situation, like if the Jets do end up getting Rosen, which again I feel like they should go after Mayfield instead.
Yep.
Yeah, they can just pick Mayfield then.
Yep. I don't know. What do you think, Flock?
I don't.
You don't care about that, huh?
I do. The Browns gonna be the Browns, bro. Like it's again, they just have too good of a situation, like every single year, for being the worst team in the freaking league.
See, I think
what pick does the Bears have?
The Bears have 7.
You know, I can't stand the Bears, right?
Yeah.
What is the draft order?
I just want to see them do horrible every year. I'm sorry.
I think the interesting thing about it is the Giants at 2. A lot of people think they're not going to pick a quarterback, so maybe they'll go ahead and pick Barkley because they need a running back also. I mean, they got nothing. In fact, they got rid of Darkwood, didn't they? So
I think they did. The Bears are the 8th pick.
8th pick, yep. I think the Giants are going to force the Browns to pick Barkley 1. I really do. I think
Giants need him, though. I feel like the Giants need Barkley. They don't need another quarterback, but I feel like they're going to do it. They're going to end up picking one of these top 3 quarterbacks.
They might have finally given up on Eli.
If the Browns pick Barkley 1, then the Giants would be forced to pick a quarterback.
Hey, absolutely.
Or trade out of there.
That's why, again, I feel like they got to just pull the trigger, just get them number 1.
Because if the Browns, let's say the Browns go Darnold 1, the Giants are getting Barkley, which would be perfect for the Jets because that means they're going to get the quarterback they probably really wanted anyways, which is either Mayfield or Rosen or Allen, whoever they wanted. And then the Browns would go ahead and get whoever's left over, which will still be good. Or if the Giants did take Barkley and the Browns already picked up a quarterback, they could trade there and be like, okay, fine, we'll trade number 4. If somebody wants this quarterback because the Broncos look like they want to get it.
Yeah, because again, for the Browns, like it's stupid because you just got Tyrod and you let your former pick go, so you let Kaiser go. So it doesn't matter who you pick because you're not planning on starting them anyways.
Yeah, but then again, somebody could say the same about running back because then they signed what's his name, Carlos Hyde.
I mean, also true, but I mean, you still got Duke Johnson.
Yeah, that too.
So I don't feel like even in that situation you're not gonna, unless like Barkley is just absolutely amazing when he's practicing the OTA or something. Like I don't think you're gonna put him over Duke starting off. So I don't know. Like
interesting.
So the Browns make my head hurt, bro, with these picks. Number 1 and number 4. It gets on my nerves because they're still going to suck. That's a bad thing. But they actually have a decent squad, and that's what pisses me off. They have a decent squad this year. It's actually pretty legit.
It's good for 3 wins.
Like I said, what did I give them? 4? I gave them 4 at the least and 6 at the most.
Yeah, I think you did.
Last time, so
I think I gave them 3.
Just
6 at max, right?
Browns, Browns, if you know what's good for you, just pick up Barkley. Just get Barkley and then pick up whatever quarterback is left. Don't do it the opposite way. Please do not pick up quarterback first.
They're going to. I think it's gonna be Darnold. I think they're gonna have. They're being brainwashed to do it. Everybody's saying
Browns gonna pick Darnold first. Makes no sense.
Who was the one that said they never wanted to play for the Browns? Was it Rosen? Was that who it was?
It was Rosen. Yep, Josh Rosen. Yep, UCLA. So they don't want to play for him, so they're going to avoid him. But
I don't want the Jets to get it. I want them to avoid Allen and I want them to avoid Rosen. I just think they're going to be bust. I really do.
I do too. I say go Mayfield if you're the Jets.
Mayfield and Darnold are the only quarterbacks that I truly trust. We'll see. All right, that's it. Anything else for anybody? No, you good? Everybody
Nah.
Flock fell asleep, I think. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Don't forget that you can make a comment in the section below. Talk about whatever you want to talk about, whether it's male cheerleaders in Los Angeles or Donald first pick. Also, don't forget to support us with our Patreon. Information down below also because I don't know off the top of my head. Well, peace out. This is SiggyGuns for Game Illuminaughty, and we out.